I'd like to first of all thank Sia for organizing this beautiful online retreat. I'm really honored to be part of it alongside these wonderful coaches. I hope we'll all have a great time. I've chosen to talk to you on the topic of peace, particularly on how to remain at peace in the midst of a storm. You might be asking, well, if you're a musician, what do you know about peace? Stay tuned and find for yourselves. This is probably something that very few people have given a thought to, but singers and musicians have to perform under all sorts of circumstances, including through sickness, death of our loved ones, difficulties of all kinds. Of course, just like all humans of different walks of life. Except it is expected from us to look good, and we cannot hide in a corner to do our job when we feel down. Singing is an instrument which very much depends on solid and very strong breathing. Now, if you're not at peace, you know what happens to your breathing, and it's impossible to give a good performance. As a vocal coach, peace is a topic I often have to deal with. While some of my clients do require and ask me to share particular vocal techniques with them, most of the people I work with are professional vocalists, which includes singers and public speakers. And you can imagine that a lot of what I do with them is help overcome the stress of having to be in front of crowds and perform in situations which would drive a lot of people insane. Even the best singers and public speakers struggle to perform up to their full potential when they're under stress. So peace is not a new topic to me. What is peace? Where is peace? I'm sure a lot of you are now imagining a perfect place. But do you remember the last time you were in a beautiful place, such as maybe an exotic beach or a mountaintop or whatever that perfect place might look like for you? You felt so at peace there, but then you went back home and reality crashed you. If that sounds like you, I'd like to ask you, is that real peace? Dependent on circumstances and fragile? When everything goes just so well, there's no trouble in the world, weather's perfect, there's no challenge, there's no health issues, money's there for you, love's there for you. There's no big deal about feeling good and feeling at peace. In fact, I think we don't have the right to brag about being at peace when circumstances are so wonderful. That's just life being kind. But most of us have lived long enough now to know that's not how life goes. There are some great moments, but there are challenges too. There is sickness, death, disappointment, injustice, war. Where is peace then? There are many topics out there that any intelligent person can understand through studying. Unfortunately, peace isn't one of them. Too often I see spirituality being approached in a very intellectual way. I give myself the right to talk about peace because I have experienced it. I know what peace feels like, and it's very hard to describe peace. Peace is something that can only be understood once it's been experienced. Peace can't be one of those goals that you create a step-by-step plan for, follow it, work hard, and after 12 weeks or whatever the duration of the course is, whoop, peace achieved. We've all heard that peace is a state of mind, but out of all of us who have repeated this sentence, how many have actually understood this? In this world of certificates, perhaps there are some certified peace professionals out there, I'm not sure. And if there are, all my respect to them, really. But no certificate in this world can guarantee peace. I've met people with very little or no education at all who are way more peaceful. And here's why, in my opinion, looking for peace in an intellectual way can lead to frustration. Often we put all our focus on the outside, and what I mean by that is all those circumstances that we can name. For instance, is it sunny? Is it raining? Are you in a beautiful place or not? Are you in luxury, in nature, or are you perhaps in poverty and struggling to make ends meet? Are you successful and well recognized, or do you feel underpaid and underappreciated? Do you have a great partner in life, or do you have a broken heart? This is what I mean by things on the outside. They are circumstances that you can name, you can define them, but they don't come with a default set of emotions. Different people in exactly the same situations feel different things. I know if given the choice, we'll all go for the good stuff. We'll all choose a life of physical comfort, authority, health, wealth. Very few people would make the conscious choice to live in a modest place without any luxury. But does peace come as a result of all these achievements and external factors? I'm not suggesting that by having a comfortable life, peace automatically goes down the drain, no. But what I am suggesting that it's not necessarily found in the same basket. Peace can exist without any of those material comforts that we just mentioned. Some of the most peaceful people that I've met have very little or nothing in the material world. They have no money, many of them are alone and don't even have good health. In fact, some of them have terminal disease and they know they have not much longer to live. Some of my personal most peaceful moments have been results to finding ways and embracing some of the toughest times that I've had in my life. Is that strange? We are taught that by doing the right things we'll get the right results. Examples: if we eat only organic food and exercise, we'll never get sick. If we work really hard, we'll never meet financial difficulties. The more we study, the more successful we'll be. The list goes on and on. There are several things that really trouble me about this belief system. The first is that we end up spending so much of our time working towards these goals, which even if we did achieve, they don't have the power to bring us peace. I mean, look around. How many successful people do you know that tick all the boxes, yet they feel miserable? The second thing that bothers me here is that these are indeed false beliefs. Even if you do eat the healthiest of diets, you will sometimes get sick. That body, regardless of how you take care of it, it will eventually die. Even if you do work really hard, that doesn't guarantee financial success. I'm not trying to discourage anyone. There's so much beauty in our world, but we remain blind to it until such time that we are able to embrace and accept and welcome life exactly the way that it is. And that takes a very deep understanding on the nature of life. We are conditioned to believe that we are in control of everything that happens in our lives. And depending on your upbringing, in some cultures more so than in others, people are really given this illusion that we are in charge of what goes on. And oh, it makes us humans feel so important, knowing that we get to decide how life evolves. But we find frustration when we meet circumstances that are out of our control. That leads to anger, depression, and definitely not to peace. And it's all because our belief system doesn't imply that suffering and hardships are normal. We are taught so many techniques to remove our suffering, and there are millions of products out there that are sold which guarantee to end your suffering. So what is accepted as normal is we end up working really hard and demanding our rights to live a fantastic life. But by expecting from life to always go as we planned, we are bound to suffer immensely and cry because we're simply expecting from life what it cannot give us. No, life isn't supposed to be perfect, without any sickness, without any injustice or disappointment. Wars have always existed. They still do. The locations change, but they're not a new thing. So what do you mean they are not normal? Violence, humans purposely hurting one another, that stuff is unfortunately a human trait. Many of us don't like it. It hurts having to face it. But if we are to make peace, acknowledging the reality is the first step to it. Plus, honestly, when we look back at history, there are so many examples of really huge disasters which obviously were really hard to live through. But they resulted in wonderful outcomes. So, keeping a bit of faith might be a good thing to do as well. We tend to get thoughts like, once the war stops, I'll be at peace. Once the right guy or the right girl comes into my life, I'll be at peace. Once I get promoted and the world just becomes so lovely and beautiful and everybody is wonderful and kind. And of course, some of these goals are achievable and will be achieved, but there always will be some new ones that you haven't yet achieved. Things that you need which haven't yet been manifested. If you plan your peace for after this thing happens and after that thing happens, you're already deciding that peace is something that is for later. You give other things priority, and your energy goes into things that in fact keep delaying your peace and ensuring that it remains as something for the future, because that's what you decided. It's for later. Hard work, being in control, that's all great stuff. But peace is made of different ingredients. Acceptance, kindness, forgiveness, resilience. I'm grateful to my life in China and also to the teachings of a beautiful human called Ajahn Brahm for teaching me something that a lot of Western societies have a hard time understanding. We are not in control. If there is something you can do to improve a certain situation, then do it. But if there's nothing you can do, make peace with it. And do it now. Now is the only time you can make peace. There's nothing you have to achieve and no box you must necessarily tick before you allow yourself to be at peace. And remember, life is a chain of moments. The more peaceful moments you have, the more peaceful your overall life is. But the only moment that you can find peace in is this one, right now. Planning peace for the future, guess what? It will always stay in the future. So, how do we make peace? Have you noticed that we always find time and ways for the things we value the most? If at the moment you are lacking peace, ask yourself if you've been giving it enough value or if you've been prioritizing other things. Firstly, recognize that you deserve to have it. Sometimes we limit our peace by allowing thoughts such as, well, how can I have peace when I live such a hard life? So I urge you to please recognize that you deserve to have peace, especially if you have nothing else. Perhaps you are living a really hard life. Maybe you've lost all your loved ones, all your health and wealth, and you have nothing else. Yeah, these are things that can be taken away. They're temporary things. But peace is yours. No one can take it from you. You deserve it. Bring that on board. Recognize that you are the one who has to grant you your peace. No one else can do that for you. People who deeply love you and really care for you, they're unable to provide peace for you. You're the one who has to do the work. Another way that we limit our peace is by feeding thoughts such as, it's not fair to let this thing go because this situation or that person who caused the situation has to be punished, they have to be prosecuted, this thing has to be fixed. Again, if there is something that you can do to improve the situation, do it and give it everything you've got. But if there's nothing you can do, what did we say? Grant yourself that peace. Recognize how many benefits peace has for you and your loved ones. Let's say you live in a dangerous place, and I've lived in a dangerous place, so I know what I'm talking about. I know it's not fun. Your peace can literally save your life because it brings you insights to ways that you can protect yourself and your loved ones. These insights are unavailable to the people who are taken by fear and are panicking. But they exist, and if you invite peace, they're yours. We already established circumstances are not what defines how you feel. We have a choice. Yes, life can be difficult, but no one can take your peace away. I want you to try this exercise with me, just so you can feel how much power you have over your peace. In this first part of the exercise, I invite you on a journey of discovering how you can make yourself feel unwell, just so you recognize that you are capable of doing that. We won't spend much time here, but long enough for you to get familiar with some of the things that you do and recognize how they affect your well-being. Do not worry, we're going on a feel-good trip right after that. So bear with me for a moment and really pay attention to the physical sensations in your body. Are you ready? Let's frown our faces, wrinkle the muscles around the eyes, bring our shoulders up closer to the head and slouch. Point the corners of the mouth downwards, squeeze those fists, and let's start practicing some controlled breathing. Keep each breath short and fast. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and faster. And faster. You are late. Breathe faster. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Please continue while I throw these words in. Anger, anxiety, fear, depression, injustice. Let's do a quick scan of the body. How do you feel? How is your spine feeling? Ask it. How are your legs feeling? How is your head, your stomach, your throat? Also, please check on your mind. How peaceful are you right now? Let's say we give it a number on the scale from 1 to 10, 1 being very peaceful and 10 being completely aggravated. As I said, we are not spending much time on this. If you've already noticed how that makes you feel, you may end this part of the exercise right here. Please make sure that before you move on to the next part, you have identified what you're feeling. If you need to take longer for that purpose, you may pause the video. And when you're ready, let's start by closing the eyes. And for those who prefer to keep them open, just do so. You may gently shake your shoulders and stretch a bit. Sit or stand, lie down if you want. Just do as you please. But choose a comfortable spot. And just really loosen up and soften up that body. I am aware that this might be difficult for some people, and the tool that I want to share with you is kindness. So just say to yourself, relax. Bring your mouth to a smile. Open up your chest. Notice the way you are breathing, but approach your breath as if it was not yours, but rather a separate being that you really care for. Just like you care for your child or a very dear friend. If it makes it easier to generate kindness, imagine your breath with a cute little face, absolutely gorgeous, and let's speak to it. My dear, sweet and lovely little breath, I'm here for you. Breathe the way you need to. If you're anxious, that's okay. Just know that you're not alone. And I'll always be here for you. Try and pick up on different sensations of your body. Those parts that are feeling tight, speak to them the same way you just did with your breath. Caress them. And when you next inhale, expand your arms to the sides and really focus on that smile on your face, relaxing the muscles around your eyes and the jaw. Bring your arms back when you exhale and let them go around you, giving yourself a big, strong, warm hug. Continue breathing calmly while listening to these words. If you wish, you may repeat them after me. Love, bliss, divine wisdom, clarity, stillness, kindness, confidence. Dwell on these for a moment and notice how you feel. If there is tension anywhere in your body, give that place a huge amount of love and kindness. How do you feel? How peaceful are you now? Could you check again on the scale from 1 to 10? There are two things I would like to point out here. The first is how much power you really have over what your body feels and the way that affects what your mind feels as well. And the second is that in the first part of the exercise, you were trying to control your body, your breathing. You were bossing them around and telling them what to do and how and when. There was no compassion for yourself. In the second part, you were just allowing yourself to be. You were being kind, gentle, and sweet. How did each of these make you feel? Remember, life is a chain of moments. Let's give ourselves more smiles and hugs and less frowns. Thank you for spending this time with me. May you all have peace, light, wisdom, love.